It is a well-known fact that people love us for our wealth. There was a time when I did not believe this, but something happened that made me realize that the world is so cruel and that people are just using us to get what they want. My name is George, and the name of the woman who cheated on me was Lizzie. I worked as a data scientist and she came on board with me in the capacity of an intern. I was always a person who carried myself like a big man, which means that I was always overweight. However, right from the beginning of my career, I was met with a great deal of adversity in my personal life. Because of the way I look, most people either ignore me or try to intimidate me in some way. Whenever I was a child, the other students in my class would always pick on me in a mean way once they stripped me naked and dragged me to the playground. That was the most terrifying experience of my entire life. I am aware that all of this information is irrelevant, but I would like to make you aware of my scenario. In a nutshell, I ran into a lot of problems along the way. My mother always supported me and been a source of inspiration, telling me that I am one of God's special creations because He made me the way I am. Regardless of what she said, the fact remains that I always and everywhere think like a huge boy. Anyway, aside from all of this, in order to shield myself from criticism, I kept myself extremely busy with my studies. In addition, I considered my academic powers to be one of the most admirable traits. When I focused all of my attention on my studies and decided what I wanted to accomplish, I had reached a point in my life where I was content and the criticism of others no longer bothered me. After graduating from high school, I found that I had a strong interest in the field of data analysis studies. And finally, after obtaining my degree, I was able to establish myself as one of the successful students at our university. I'm working in a company with very handsome salary. Sometimes our disabilities could be hid by the money, and that's what I was doing. I apologize for the lengthy explanation. Anyway, 1 year ago, a girl joined our company as an intern. She went by the name Lizzie, and in my opinion, she was a stunning young lady. And as luck would have it, the company transferred her to my department and gave me instructions to instruct her. And we started working. The first time I saw her, there was an electric charge in my chest whenever she was around. Her brown eyes killed me, but I made the decision to steer clear of my potential distractions, and I also convinced myself that there was no way that she would be interested in someone as fat as me. Because of this, I made it a point to always focus on my work. However, during our conversations, we covered a wide range of subjects. Since we were both working in the same office at the same time, it was inevitable that we would talk. Once she asked me to become completely honest about how much money I could make and how long it would take to get into this position. I told her that I could not tell her how much money I made, but I did let her know that I'd been working on this for the past 5 years. And among the company's data scientists, I'm one of the highest paid of them all. I could tell by the look on her face that she was very surprised to learn about it. She was astounded. She characterized it as being very impressive, and while making a sad face, she continued, "So, I need another 5 years to earn the same as you? Because I put in a lot of work to get it." I suggested that it might be worth more to me. After that, I got the impression that she was being more open and honest with me. Additionally, she demonstrated her concern for me every other day by making something for me to eat. To tell you the truth, I enjoyed all of her creations. Once I told her that my eating habits are typical because it is normal. She told me not to be silly and that God made everyone different, including you, which I believe to be the case. Suddenly, the thought of my mother, who has always been supportive to me in this problem, came to my mind. It seemed to me that she was unique in comparison to other people. She did not make fun at me in any way, and was a very cheery young lady. At the time, I was completely unaware of the motivation behind all of her actions, and I had no idea what was going on with it. Our relationship deepened over the course of time, and eventually she confessed to me that she has feelings for me. It came as a shock to me because I had liked her right from the beginning of our relationship. But now she was sharing her thoughts and emotions with me. I was filled with joy, and the thought occurred to me that perhaps God had delivered her to me so that I could add some color to my life. First, I did not even believe her and asked her, "Don't do kidding." But then she said, "I am not kidding. I'm in love with you because I felt a very soft and kind heart in you," which is an interesting turn of events. And for that every moment, I had been holding my breath. Your choice will now be implemented. I was rendered speechless by her reflections, but I did not waste any time and proposed marriage to her. And we got down to the business of getting married. It was a very significant event for me in my life. I planned a spectacular ceremony of our wedding. Lizzie was very happy. I presented Lizzie with a very lovely necklace as a gift. It was amazing to her. Our couple stood out from the crowd in a number of ways. The problem was that where we went, people stared at us. This happened everywhere we went. Perhaps I felt ashamed of it due to the way my body looked at the time. Although I was accustomed to it, I was concerned about Lizzie. Because of me, she had to go through all of this. I did not want her to have to deal with all of these compliments. I was very concerned about how she was doing. Once I profusely apologized to her, but she told me that it was nothing, that we should not think about other people, and that we should just enjoy our lives. I liked her spirit and also fell more in love with her because she was showing her best support to me. In addition to this issue, I was dealing with the fact that our sexual life is not satisfying as it ought to have been. Even though Lizzie did not share any details with me, I was still able to understand how she was feeling. I came to the conclusion that I needed medical attention and discussed my decision with Lizzie, who advised me against seeking it out, saying that there was no reason to do so. The fact that she liked me came to me as no surprise. Consequently, I shifted my viewpoint. Prior to the time of my marriage, however, I was already on a fat-burning medication that proved to be quite beneficial to my body. I was experiencing weight loss. After she got married, Lizzie started new friendships in society, and I have no problem with that decision. She was content with her life and the way it was going. She also became a member of a women's club where she and her new friends could relax and socialize. She made new friends in the society. Because I loved her, I would always do whatever she asked, whenever she requested something. In addition, she took a significant amount of money from me on a monthly basis, and I have no issue or problem with it in any way, mainly due to the fact that I was concerned about her happiness. I don't put her joy ahead of thinking about how much money we have. Owing to the fact that she had a large number of her friends within a short period of time in the neighborhood. As a result, we started going to the parties hosted by our neighbors, and it was a lot of fun. I have always been a reserved person, but thanks to Lizzie, I've had the opportunity to integrate into society, and the positive relationships I've made there have brought me a great deal of joy. I believe that she improved the quality of my life in a significant way. Once we went to visit one of our neighbors. There was a get-together at Miss Reckel's house, where she was a lovely hostess. After dinner, I noticed something strange. Miss Reckel's husband got staring at Lisa's body the whole time we were there. It occurred to me that perhaps there was a misunderstanding, but after some time had passed at the party, I noticed that he was talking to Lizzie, and at the same time, they were both having a good time and chatting. Having to keep an eye on her made me feel very uneasy. I just showed up there out of the blue and told Lizzie to get out of there as soon as possible because I wasn't feeling well. After giving our thanks to Miss Reckel, we departed. After having arrived back to the house, I informed Lizzie of what I observed and cautioned her to exercise extreme caution around him. Lizzie responded that she would be cautious about it and would also answer him if she had the opportunity. I agreed with her and said that you should give her a warning if there was any chance that he might hurt you. It put my mind at ease to know that she was also concerned about her own safety. I had full faith in her ability to deal with any challenge, but I asked her to let me know if there was any possibility that this might occur anyway. I remember another time when it was a Sunday and I was watering the flowers in the garden while Lizzie went out to do some shopping. She left the house and went outside. During the same period of time, that individual was working on his automobile. He resided next to our home, which was in his parking lot. When Lizzie was leaving, I noticed something very unusual. I felt like she smiled and looked at him as she left. I found this very odd, but I could not be certain. After that, she left. Aside from that, he was keeping an eye on her until she got into the car. I chose to disregard this information because I believed that it was merely my suspicion that she smiled at him. One day, my maid came to serve me my medications, but on that particular day, she appeared to be in a lot of distress. When I asked her what had happened, she did not give me any information about it. I insisted that she explained, because she was an elderly maid who was working in my home for the past 4 years up until this point. After staring at Lizzie for a moment, she quickly exited the room. When I asked Lizzie what had happened to her, she said that she had no idea what I was talking about. I have no idea what took place after that, but it was after a few days when I arrived home. Our maid was not there to greet me. When I asked Lizzie about her, she responded that she had already left, claiming that she needed to go to a different town because her sister had passed away. When she will return was something I mentioned. Lizzie told me that she fired her because she demanded 3 months' worth of salary in advance from her, but she refused to give it to her. So I fired her and instructed her not to return at any time. On that day, I noticed that she was acting in a very peculiar manner and that her attitude seemed very odd. When I questioned her about what had taken place, she simply stated that she was upset with the maid. As I took medications in night before sleeping, I was also suffering from insomnia, so before sleeping, I took sleeping pills. Once I was suffering from a gastric problem, so I was disturbed for whole night initially. I slept for 2 or 3 hours, but then in midnight I woke up and found Lizzie nowhere in the room. I got out of my room and heard few voices from the room downstairs. I went there. I could hear like moaning or weeping sounds in the room, but the room was locked. I went from left side of the room. There was a store and, as well, it was a tiny window from where we could watch in the room. I used his support to help me get up on the table and then I moved the table so that I could watch out the window. I came across a horrible scene in which Lizzie was being fucked out by our neighbor. I felt like my heart was going to stop beating, and I had the sensation that I was having a cardiac arrest. I got down on my knees and started crying. I had no idea what I was going to do. My entire life was turned upside down in an instant as a direct result of the action that she took. It felt like I became heartless. I used to be a kind person who would always be afraid, no matter how insignificant the threat throughout my entire life, but the scene completely changed my perspective. I had the impression that I was a psycho. I reached into the equipment box that was located in that room and removed the cutter from within it. I knocked at the door hardly. She waited a couple of seconds before opening the door, at which point I discovered that she was the only person in the room. After that, I entered the room. It looks like she's trying to stop me. On the other hand, I barged my way in. I looked under the bed and in the closet, but he was nowhere to be found. Next, I opened the door to the restroom, but it was closed and locked. He was in the restroom at the time. I couldn't open the door. I warned him that if he did not open the door, I would call his wife and she would be here within a few seconds, at which point he would witness his own demise. After that, he opened the door. He had nothing on. As soon as the door is open, I grabbed both of his balls and, in the blink of an eye, I tried to hit on his balls in anger. He was sobbing and yelling at the same time, but I didn't stop. I sat down next to him and told Lizzie to come sit with us. She acted as if she had lost all senses of reason, and she did not respond. I struck her and then instructed her to approach him. I cautioned her that if she did not carry out my order, I would cut his balls, and he would die as a result. There is still a chance that she can prevent his death. After she approached him, I instructed her to get intimate with him. She did not agree to do this. I let her know that she does not have a choice in the matter. I went back. After she has done the same thing, I had her husband's wife come over. I did not anticipate that she would do that, but she did take him to the hospital anyway because I don't have any other options. I told Lizzie to get the hell out of my life already. My emotions were manipulated by her. She was such a bitch to be around. During that time of the night, I kick her out of my house and lock the door behind her. I am currently lying on the ground while posting the story due to the fact that I have given up all hopes. So I have no idea what steps to